What's up, y'all? It's me, PR. I am me, here with another episode of the PNP. And this week we got a special one. We got a special one. Got co-host Leeboy. Say what's up.
Hey, Leeboy in the building, Prime Nostalgia Podcast, PNP. I'm hella excited about today's topic. It's been a long time coming, something we should have been done, but hey, it's Christmas, and this is the gift that keeps on giving. This particular movie, I'm excited to get started today.
And today we got a special guest. We
do.
A great guest. And this is, we should have done more Disney, but sure. Okay, sure.
I mean, some of these have showed up on Disney Channel. I think there's been some Disney crossover here. So
yeah. Disney Plus, that's their home right now.
Definitely Disney Plus. So
yeah, but we got Allison from PastFootFoward. What's up?
Hey, thanks for having me. Love this podcast. Love you guys. So excited to be here.
Thank you. And wait. Has Allison, you've been here before?
I've not. I have been I've been on Prime Conversations, but I've not been on the PNP until today.
Oh man, yeah. This is also not only that the topic is overdue. This meeting of the minds is overdue. Allison has been a great supporter of ours. Mine, I was gonna say mine in particular, but she's been a supporter of everybody. She's a great friend and family at this point. So welcome to the PNP. Thank you for coming by.
Yeah, I'm excited about this. Some of my favorite movies, some of them in this franchise, I might add.
Yeah, there's a couple. Hey, you know how I get down. There's a couple, doozies in here. There's a couple duds. I ain't gonna lie, but we'll get into it, man. In fact, Prime, just tell the people what we are alluding to, because I feel like we've been so cryptic so far. Tell them what's up.
So we are doing our personal rankings on the Home Alone movies, and it's 6 of them now. So that's a lot. Okay.
Hey man, you gotta be more excited than that. We're doing Home Alone, bro. Hey,
but
this is one of the best nostalgic, one of the best nostalgic movies and series of all time. I mean, this is part
series.
As far as nostalgia
series.
Hey, at least two of them. At least two of them.
I mean, this is part of like nostalgic history. This is like, as far as what I'm concerned, this is like the Walk of Fame right here. At least a couple of these. I mean, come on. We're starting with number one. We've already revealed that we're talking about Home Alone. The first one is totally iconic and it's one of my favorite movies of all time. Certainly one of the best Christmas movies of all time. And this 'tis the season. So yeah, man. I mean, what you got a problem with the Home Alone series? The trilogy?
Okay. The trilogy, no, but the series as a whole, yeah.
Okay.
We get into it.
A couple duds, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. So should we do it the way that we do our top five? Like whoever
I think so.
Yeah,
okay. I think we should go ahead and just rank and then go around. We could start with I think we should start with you, Prime. You're our Home Alone expert. So what you got at number? I mean, there's 6 of them. But we're starting off with number 6 today. What you got?
Yes. And by the way, for y'all listening, what we mean by this is I will say mine. If anybody has it higher, they will say higher on my list, and then we'll wait to talk about it. But
I'm guessing I think we're gonna all agree with these first couple. I'm hoping.
Somewhat, but then different orders. I'm assuming.
All right, let's see.
But my worst one is the 4th one.
4th? Okay.
The fourth is the worst.
Yeah, all right. Well, I guess I got it higher on my list.
Higher? Okay. We'll wait, dude.
Slightly. I mean, we could just start talking about it now. But Allison, do you have number 4 higher on your list, or?
No, I agree with Prime.
It's the worst. Oh.
Under direct instructions, I asked, do I have to watch these in full? Because it's not that I'm not saying they're objectively bad, but year after year after year of certain ones, and year after year after year of not certain ones. So watch the trailer And we can get into it now, why it's my last one if you want. But yeah, I agree with Prime.
Well, I just got it one up higher on my list. So how do we do that, Prime? Because I mean, you could kind of guess what I've got last. I've got 5 last.
Okay.
I've got 5 last. It was really just a toss up between 5 or 4. So do we want to talk about 5? Or we want to talk about 4? What are we talking about here?
Maybe just throw 4 and 5 together.
Let's just get them over with. Because on my list, I have, like I said, 5 last, 4 second to last. And I'm guessing Prime is it? Can we just discuss both?
So I have 4 and then 5. So yes.
Okay. So I'll concede. We can discuss. Let's just talk about 4 first.
Okay.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's bad. This is a pile of dookie. It's not. It's terrible. It's barely watchable. I mean, you mentioned that you didn't watch it, Allison. I didn't watch it. I'm not planning on watching this. I've seen some clips. I've seen the booby traps.
Unfortunately, I watched it.
You watched it.
Yeah.
Oh, you watched this the whole time? Oh, open the door. Open this.
Yes.
Here's my issue with the 4th one. And it's weird because I kind of remember when it happened, but it was sort of like a fever dream. Like, oh, being a little kid, like, is there another Home Alone? Like, is this real? But it turns out, I think it was a Wonderful World of Disney TV movie, which makes it even a whole nother dimension of this is just kind of odd. And I love most of the movies that I've seen in that series, in that anthology series. But back on task. It takes the same characters from the first 2 movies and different actors, and I'm just like, how can we do this when they were so iconic?
It's so weird how he was like 10 in the second one, and then he goes to this one, he's like 8. It's like they divorced, he's 8. They got like 3 members instead of like 9. It's just
so it's so they're literally, I mean, I seen that they had the names Marvin Harry, which, like, you know, in hindsight, that should have made it last just because they tried to even throw Marvin Harry in there. And the guy is so bad. He's Harry, right? He's supposed to be Harry. Or is he supposed to be? He has to be Harry.
I don't know.
Harry is...
No, he's Marv.
No, Marv is the dude with the hair, right?
No, okay, he's the smart one.
Yeah, he's Harry.
Okay.
He's supposed to be Harry, and it's just bad. It's just terrible. And then they've got this whole smart house, Richie Rich type thing. Like they were trying to like get on the backs of, you know, of those types of movies. Blank Check. It's like a mashup of all of those mixed with Home Alone. They're doing the most. And the kid, I mean, I feel bad because I'm gonna be ranking on a lot of these kids. And you know, I'm a child star advocate. I don't want to like do, you know, I don't want to talk crap on these kids, but nobody's even touching Macaulay Culkin. There's one kid that I think is decent, but this ain't one of them. Sorry to whoever this kid is, but the whole premise of them having Marvin Harry in the movie is just bad in general. Like I said, they're just ripping off so many other films that came around that time. So I think we ranked on it enough. I think we killed.
I think so.
Get 4 out of here. The consensus is that it's in last place today. I had it 5th, but really it was a toss-up. So should we move along and start killing Home Alone 5?
This is the one I know the very least about out of all of them.
Right, and I have very few notes about this, just because, one, they don't even have too much out there on YouTube about it. It wasn't even good enough to put on YouTube. No one is getting any type of views off the clips in this, you know, on this movie. No one even cares, I don't think. Prime, did you say this is the one that's on YouTube in full, or was that 4?
4 is the one that's on YouTube as a whole. 5 is the one that I don't think it was a decom, but I think it did come out on Disney Channel. So they kind of own it. So it's like to watch it, you have to buy it, and nobody's
Okay.
gonna buy it. So
So I'm guessing it was probably a straight to DVD that later aired on Disney Channel. It's probably
yeah.
in there. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the best thing is is his name Malcolm McDowell from Clockwork Orange? I mean, that was probably, I mean, that's a great casting, I guess, the main boss head honcho guy. But other than that, I mean, there's just so much to be desired out of this film.
The Holiday Heist. Okay, so that's what it's called. Oh, also, I didn't realize until looking the other day that Debbie Mazar is in this movie and Ed Asner, which is kind of random that two like amazing actors signed on for Home Alone 5.
Right. That's what I'm saying. The cast, I mean, other than the kid, I don't know, but and it's just hard for me to compare any of these kids to my guy Macaulay. But
Yeah.
in general, I mean, I think this one just has the least replay value, the least draw, and that's why I had it last. You guys somehow moved it up a slot over 4, but
That's because 4 was horrible.
it's just worse, right?
Maybe they can just tie. I don't know.
They're just tied. I mean, I think it's just pretty obvious those are the lacking of the series. So we'll cut them some slack and just say, hey, if you're gonna watch Home Alone, don't start with 4 or 5, right? This one they should have just left alone. No pun intended. Left that Home Alone alone. But there is some light at the end of the tunnel because we recently got another remake, and I'm hoping that we're in agreement that this one is number 4. Can we move on in the list?
I think
That is,
and yeah, we're going with, this is our 4th favorite or
yes.
3rd least favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that.
And which are we all in agreement that it's the latest number 6? Or that's what I have on my
That's what
list.
I have.
Yeah, I was sort of torn, but yes, I'm gonna go with that.
Nice. So Prime. Now I think we can get off on a more positive note, on a, get out there. Well, Prime gave me that face. What you got to say,
No,
man? This is
I'm gonna say,
don't forget Kenan Thompson's in this one now. Come on, it's our guy.
surprisingly, the 6th one was not the worst one. Usually when you hear about this, you think it gets worse and worse and worse. I will say at least they gave an effort to care about it. Like, they tried to make sense of what's happening. The little boy,
Not so little boy.
toy,
I mean,
huh?
I said
The
not
little
so
boy,
little,
no.
not so little boy.
the little boy toy.
Oh,
trope
okay. The toy
was
a reach.
it was a reach for the boy side. Like, why would they want to kidnap you, and that his reasoning was just,
Yeah, I mean, they didn't have the opportunity to just say, hey kid, here's $100, shoot the toy. Like, that would have been my first approach. You want how much you want for the little doll, instead of breaking and entering and like potentially killing and endangering people. Why not just knock on the door and ask? But that's just me, I guess.
I have a few issues with it. Prime and I have talked about this a little bit. I actually watched it not too long after it dropped on Disney Plus. And the primary thing for me is that at the very end, this kid all of a sudden just trusts these adults who were breaking into his home and he thought putting his life in danger. And then he's just like, okay, I'll go home with you.
Yeah, well, let's all kick it. And
Right.
the family comes over too, right? Like,
yeah, and it's not
you guys just trashed even though the house was under construction, you guys just ruined my entire house, potentially like almost killed my kid, and now we're just friends, no cops involved.
Yeah, they don't really reveal exactly how much the kid's mom knows, but it's just weird. You have to know something. How else would you have any idea who these people were? It's just, yeah. So the ending is strange that it's that the parents have to feel like they have to go and do that, like you said, is odd. And on the note of the parents, I'm just gonna keep going. And this whole slamming against the brick wall scene to the tune of "Oh Holy Night," that bothered me because you have these majestic, very deep spiritual scenes with the choral music in the early films, and I did not, it was a cognitive dissonance for me to be hearing their kids sing "Oh Holy Night" when they're slamming against a brick wall and pulling each other's pants down.
And you know what, that was actually one of the things though I did appreciate about this one, is there were many callbacks to the original as far as the music. You know, it did remind us quite a bit. You know, there's always the stealing of the booby traps, but they did a couple iconic ones. I think they had some type of barbell, or instead of the paint, remember, instead of they're throwing down the paint cans, they threw down the sugar and milk and the cookies and all that stuff. So I thought they were pretty creative with some of that stuff. But yeah, I did have an issue as well with them all getting together and being friends. It's just, although that was an interesting turn of events, something that we hadn't seen, as far as, hey, the burglars and the victims all becoming chummy, but it's just unrealistic. It's just unrealistic. That
Well,
was
hey,
too much.
Keenan was great.
Keenan, his short-lived part was great because
It's so
I was
funny
waiting
to
for
me.
him to come back, but yeah.
It's so funny to me. In real life, he did not know they were the bad guys. Like, in real life, he was like, wait. He was like,
Y'all
wait.
the villains, y'all the burglars,
Yeah.
y'all the wet bandits.
Shout out to You Already Know, because like they watched the trailer on the show. He was like, wait, the parents are those are the bad guys? Well, let's move on to, what's this, number three? Or is
We are at number 3 on all of our lists. And
Okay.
Prime, what you got at number 3?
Mine is number 3. I mean,
Number
come on.
3.
Number
Number 3. We're all in agreement here. I can't wait till we get to these last two, because this is where it's going to get crazy. But yes, we are all in consensus
Yes.
with number 3. And what's the kid's name in this? Is it Max? I always just want to call him Max. I don't know why, he just looks like a Max.
Alex is his real name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
And the reason why you're calling him Max, because he's Max Keeble. I don't know if you've seen that, but yeah.
Yeah.
He's also a seasoned DCOM actor. He was in The Jenny Project, which is one of my favorite hidden gem DCOMs, and he was in Full Court Miracle. So,
oh, okay.
That's my contribution to number 3. And I'm looking up, they named him Alex in the movie as well. In this movie.
Yeah, and real name.
And outside of Macaulay Culkin, he's my favorite Kevin or Alex or protagonist. I think he's very believable. He's very cunning, very relatable. He's the kid that you want to be. You want to be cool like this kid. And I think that's a huge factor for the success of the series in general. So I think they did excellent with casting him. Nothing but flowers and praises for him. So shout out to Alex. Nothing bad to say about my fellow child actor. I got it.
Real quick, because you never seen Max Keeble, but basically
I've seen Max Keeble. Yeah, okay, he's like the same kid. Yeah,
the same kid. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. He's just a bad little smart kid that's just ahead of his time, and I love it. That's like my alter ego or my actual ego when I was a kid. That was me. But yeah, I think he did a great job, and he fought well against this group of burglars. They got 4 in this, 4 people that came to take over the house, and a decent story behind it that I could appreciate as well. They're looking for the government chip, right? In the car, the race car.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So yeah, I think that was an excellent little flip. The first time we seen that they weren't just here to rob the house, or there's a little bit of different storyline in 2 as well. But overall, they're not just there to rob the house like they were in the first one. They're here for one particular item, and it created a decent story that's believable and followable.
And also, I love John Hughes. This is the last Home Alone that he did. He didn't do the other 2000. He didn't do the other.
The ones that don't count. Yeah, we don't need to go back to
He
that.
did the first 3, and he said, "I'm out."
Smart
Yeah.
man. Smart man.
I watched parts of this one for today, but I have seen it before. I did not grow up like little watching it. I would say I was getting into the tween years when I finally saw the third one. But I agree, you can see that John Hughes touch, I think. And if I did have kids, I think that I would be after the watching the first 2, I'd be like, hey, there's also this one. Let's try it, kind of thing.
Yeah, the kids enjoy this one. In my household, kids enjoy this one as well. And what year was this, Prime?
97, I think.
97. So still in like the nostalgic golden era for sure. And you could definitely tell because like it's weird because movies, they just, I don't know, maybe it's just this series, and maybe I'm just being critical, but it seemed like in the 90s, although the movies just weren't as cheesy. When we hit the 2000s and they're making movies for kids, it just got so cheesy, so over the top, so unbelievable. I don't know if there was like a little bit more censorship that they wanted to put around kids' films, but I can appreciate the rawness. And maybe it's just a John Hughes thing as well. Probably.
I will say, as far as this one, this is even though the first 2 are family films, I think this is the most family it's like enjoyable for kids, and like even though the first 2 are, but this one is more of a family. I don't know how to explain it, but
no, it's made for like the first 2. Let's not dive into those too much, but they're not exactly made for kids. They're enjoyable for kids.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're saying, this one I think is just more made for kids. It's
not as brutal with the
not as brutal. Attacks. They got the car thing going, like racing cars, and that's like a whole thing when remote control cars were a craze, I'm sure, in the late 90s. They've got some elite booby traps. I love the dog whistle. I thought that was very very creative and just dope in general. And then also remember the lawnmower haircut?
Yeah.
When he came out with the haircut. Those actors and actresses that were part of the burglars were pretty elite in this one as well. I think next to Harry and Marv, I think this is one of the best groups we got.
Very entertaining.
2 other actor things I noticed. The dad is the dad from Smart House, so that's cool. And little ScarJo in this movie, that's kind of fun too.
But who's ScarJo?
Scarlett
Johansson.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. But yeah, I mean, Home Alone 3, kudos to John Hughes, kudos to those that brought back the film. This was just a few years after 2. It gives you a totally different feeling, I think, but it's a good addition to the series that's not too much like 1 and 2, but just enough like it that it's enjoyable for the fans of the original. So nothing, I don't have really too much bad to say about this. Not too much. I mean, I think as time went on, though, the burglars, although I gave them praise before, I think, this is when they started just getting a little silly. I mean, Harry and Marv are silly too, but not when they're together talking. Like when they're together and they're like planning things out, it's believable that they're just trying to really come up. Like they seem like a real duo of guys. Where these 4 together, it's just, they're like, they're Eastern European or something. I don't know. It's just a whole lot to deal with.
I think Harry and Marv were they don't care about hurting the kid, while these guys were just like, we just want to capture him. We don't want to like kill him or nothing. We just want to capture him.
Mm-hmm. So like Harry and Marv were serious about their business.
Put out a gun on them. So yes.
And I will say, and adding a female burglar in this was a precedent that we've seen throughout the series later on. And I like the original lady that participated. She was great, and a great addition in general.
All right, so this is number 2, and
I don't know. Before we get into these, should we take the break now, or you want to wait till 1?
We can take it now.
I think we should take the break now because I'm feeling like this last half we're gonna have lots to talk about and possibly a debate. We'll see. So should we leave our audience, our listeners, with some music to check out in the halftime? What you got for us, Prime? What you got in mind?
Let's go with White Christmas.
From the first soundtrack, right?
Yep.
And yeah, one of the best soundtracks ever in nostalgic history, especially for Christmas. Well, at least
I'll say a better score.
Score. Yeah. Score is great. But yeah, we'll be right back, you guys. Don't go nowhere. We're gonna finish up our top 6 list of the best and worst Home Alone movies. Don't go nowhere.
And we are back. You just heard White Christmas. Get you in the mood to talk about these two. When we're on number 2, I don't know where this is about to go. I don't know how crazy this is about to get, but
we got 2 elite movies here. We got 2 elite movies left and 2 more slots left. So Prime, you want to start us off? What you got at number 2, sir?
I am first, and you know what? I don't care.
Whoa.
What?
I have the first one at number 2.
All right. Okay.
I got the first one at number 2.
What you got at number 2, Allison?
I have number 2 at number 2.
Ooh, so, and you know what? I'm actually surprised. I agree with Prime. I agree with Prime. I'm always a sucker for the original. It has a great nostalgic. It's just so good. Home Alone 1 is so good. There's nothing that you could say bad. Well, I have one little gripe that got it down to number 2 for me. But there's, this is just one of the best films of all time. I'll say this is one of the few instances where the second one is better than the first. We've talked about Terminator 2, T2, Mighty Ducks 2, D2. I put Child's Play 2 in there is also the second one. Better.
Cop 2.
Beverly Hills Cop 2. Usually it's the first one, but this is to me one of the instances where they really got number 2.
Back to the Future 2 in some people's opinions too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love Back to the Future too. I still need to see the first one. Side note.
So we're breaking down. So if we're coming through a consensus, we're breaking down the first Home Alone film, one of the most iconic nostalgic films of all time. Allison, what you got? I know this wasn't your particular pick, but we got to talk about the first movie.
Well, I guess I should say I completely understand where you're coming from and where, frankly, probably a lot of people are coming from in saying that 2 is the best. But I just think, and this may be even a silly reason to rank it number 1. But if we didn't have the first one and to establish the canon and to kind of get that perfect formula down, we wouldn't have the second one. So it's so hard because they are such a package deal, That's my first thought in framing all of this.
Right. And like you said, this was obviously the original story. The best story, I would say, leaving the kid behind at the house. I mean, this was a dream for people. Like, this was a dream for kids. Like, how can I get my parents to leave me at the house? I got all this craziness. Like, I got the house to myself. I'm going to the grocery store. I'm buying the milk. Hey, will my parents let me come here all alone? Does that look? I love that scene when he's buying the toothbrush. He's like, lady, come on. My parents would never. One of the reasons, though, that I did have this at number 2 is there is one kind of lull, I think, in the story, even though it's a great story. And that is, what is it? The Sandman? What is this guy's name next door to him? The shovel man.
Old Man Marley. Don't hate on Old Man Marley.
Old Man Marley. Is that his name?
Yes, that is his name.
I think just that storyline a little bit left, something to be desired there in comparison to the Pigeon Lady. I would say the old man Marley, he just wasn't exciting. He didn't do it for me. He wasn't scary like Kevin thought he was.
Well, an old guy with
he had
shovel,
a swing on him at the end, but
an old guy with a shovel can be scary when when people tell you he done killed somebody and he's shoveling up their remains. That
it's Buzz being Buzz and fabricating this whole like terrible story about him. So of course that heightens the scariness.
But then when they like culminate his story or his contribution to what's going on in the church, and he just kind of explains to him, oh, my daughter's this, and I haven't talked to my son in 20 years or whatever. That crap is boring, man. Like, I'm sorry. As a kid, I'm like always tuned out on that part. Didn't never really understand it. He's like, how you watch movies over and over and you don't understand certain parts. That was just a part that I just never cared about as a kid. It took me years to really understand that why he didn't have a relationship with his son and he's trying to tell him to be good with his family and Buzz. It just wasn't very entertaining as a kid. As an adult, it definitely ties you into the reason for the season and gives greater meaning to the film in general. But I would say, and just comparing to the Pigeon Lady, I just love the Pigeon Lady. So, I mean, the party scene, rocking around the Christmas tree all time. I mean, you got Jordan in there. But yeah, there's just so many great things when it comes to the soundtrack in this one. And like you said, the score, they brought that back, obviously, at number 2. And in the latest one, right, as well, 6, I think they brought back the score. I'm not sure.
They brought back that main song.
It was a little different, which threw me a little bit. But the thing on 2 that I realized last year was that Darlene Love song. That's in 2, the All Alone for Christmas one. Da, 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 with all the cool instrumental stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, 1 is, I guess, like the iconic Somewhere in My Memory. I love that.
Yeah, love it. Love that. I mean, I love Fuller. I love his family. Even though we only see them briefly, I mean, there's the whole scenes where they're running through the airport, forever iconic. There's just certain scenes that will always stick with you. I think even more than number 2, which makes it so hard to rate these two or rank these two, because there are just so many scenes that were so great. And then obviously the booby traps. Booby traps, this is the original. Everything was the first time we're seeing it. It's all-time elite. And and it just set up obviously each and every film to have that same fight scene at the end. And this is the OG, so it's hard to take away from that in comparison to number 2, because they just got so many things right in this, and then you got the wet bandits, the sticky bandits, you got Harry and Marv. You love these guys. For me, it's Marv for me. Okay. I mean, do we see the skeleton? Is that in this one? Does he get shocked into a skeleton, or is that 2? Is that only in 2?
2.
It's only in 2. Huh? Yeah. But I mean, I love the flamethrower to Harry's head was great. So I mean, the what is it? The burn into his hand. The brand, the hot doorknob brands his hand is great. And then, we cannot forget, and this might be the best. It's not technically a booby trap, but Kevin's scheme of playing the Filthy Animal movie, the pizza delivery guy running for his life, never reproduced. Was this ever reproduced in any film, in any of them?
They try to do it in the newest one.
They try to play a film. He plays something and scares him.
No, he does.
They're watching that movie. They're watching the original.
Yes, they're watching like an alien version of it. And he was like, nah, I hate remakes. Something like that, he says.
Okay, that's
right. It was very on the nose.
Right. But yeah, I mean, the firecrackers and the in the
He was here
pans,
yesterday.
the
He was
saucepans.
switching with my brother.
Right. I mean, it's to the point where we know we want to watch that movie and know that movie.
They
You know what I'm
really
saying?
should have made that into a movie though, or
It's
not. And not if not a movie, like a short, like a short, like a 20-minute or whatever. Like
Wait, so it's not in a real movie?
It's not a
no,
real-
they made it just for home.
Oh, that makes. Hey, I might have to change my ranking, man, because they didn't made two classic movies in one. One was not even a real movie, because that actor was that age at that time, right? The guy that plays him, he's a famous actor as well. So let's see, I never even.
I'm gonna give you 10 seconds to
something
get
new
to
every day.
Smelly, Gracie.
No good keister off my
yeah,
property.
keister off my property. I'm gonna give
Before
you
I
to the count of
pump you
10.
full of lead. One,
Two,
two.
10.
Love it. No beating that particular setup, those particular series of events. I don't know if it gets any better throughout the entire series.
And that house. I mean, you can't beat that beautiful house. We need to go on a field trip to Chicago and
talking about this, Prime.
Well,
We
if we would have bid for it, we could have had it because they were selling it on the Airbnb for like $25, and it was like,
which is like, how are you gonna get that? I wonder how many people like lined up to try to.
for sure.
I'm pretty sure a lot. You mean to tell me you don't want to stay in this house? Like, come on.
I'm not saying I don't want to, but it's, I don't know. On the whole thing, I was kind of like, I don't know if it would not that it wouldn't ruin it, but would it be weird? I don't know.
Everyone go watch. If you haven't seen it, shame on you. Just go check it out. Binge all of them. Start off with number one. One of the greatest stories in movie history. I'm gonna just say that. One of the greatest premises for a movie, just being home alone. The title says it all. He's actually home alone. It makes sense, and just so relatable for kids to want to be in the situation. But with that, we've got a number one. We've got a consensus, at least from me and Prime. You were just a little bit behind on this one, Allison, but we've got Home Alone 2, one of the rare times, in my opinion, where the sequel eclipses the original. Prime, what drew you to the sequel here?
I really, really like the second one, and it's the same as the first one, but you get right to the premise, you get right to the action, and plus it has Tim Curry in it. He makes everything better. Especially like he has one scene, and he was like, "You want a cheese pizza?" And he says pizza wings. The snake scene is better in this one because it's like Tim Curry, Rob Schneider, and like the three other people in there in the room. He's like, "You've been smooching with my brother, and you've been kissing so and so and Gus too." And they're like, what?
I forgot about that. This is in the hotel, right? When they're yeah. Oh, this is awesome. Yeah.
So yes, I think with them being in the hotel and that Tim Curry.
And then when you just brought that up, I love the part when he hands him the gum for a tip. He's like looking at the gum. He's so pissed. But yeah, I actually kind of forgot about the hotel staff in a little bit before even thinking about this. I hadn't, full disclosure, didn't watch one or two yet this season. We pretty much watch it every year, but I've yet to watch number 2 in the last 360 days or so. But we'll get to it. Always watch the booby trap scenes though. Those are on repeat on YouTube for the kids. But yeah, just the hotel staff is a great element. And I think in general, one of the things that just make this one, quote unquote, and I'll say bigger and better, and I think that's why I have it at number 1, is because it does take place in New York City. I mean, there's just so much to, there's just even more than wanting to be home alone. at your own house, being a home or being in a hotel alone in New York City with your father's credit card is just a very appealing storyline, and it's a plot that I definitely wanted to dive into. It's just so, I mean, how he gets around the hotel staff and tells them, oh yeah, my dad's just upstairs and he's faking it the whole time. They're so skeptical, but he keeps coming up with ways to trick them and stuff. I think it was just elite.
And he has the toy everybody wanted at the time with the talk boy. Say something in it and they repeat back to you. That was like they made that toy hot.
They did. I had a talk boy for sure.
So for me, I think what struck me kind of revisiting it, I watched part of it today, and the fact that the first movie, his intention is to protect himself and protect his house. But in this one, he feels really moved to save these funds that are going to go to the kids in the children's hospital. And that's really touching, that's part of him stopping Marv and Harry for this really big and beautiful cause. And then to get to the relationship with Marley and then the pigeon lady, I think that I'm going to have to just rewatch the scene up in the tower in the symphony, because I watched it today and just I'm gonna need to focus my mind more, because I think there's going to be just some gems in there that I get in a different way, even like at this point in my life, than I ever have to really like dive into that scene.
Yeah, I mean, the things that she's discussing are actually very prevalent right now with, I mean, home, and not to get too serious, but homelessness on a rise, single people on a rise, like marriages and family and kids and things like that on a decline in general in society. The things that she was dealing with, and you know, this has probably been a reality in New York City for quite some time because the cost of living is so crazy. I know this went just down a crazy turn, but she was dropping some heavy stuff, and she really grew Kevin up on screen. Like he, although, you know, he matured a lot, like you said, he's doing this for the kids now, and it's not really so self-fulfilling, but his relationship with her and their talks and thoughts on making memories, and that being the most important out of everything in the season is being around the people that you love. Yeah, we learned that in the first one, but we learned it in a different way from her, just because it was just so touching. Her story is just so touching. She's homeless, outside, separate from old man Marley, which is, he's just stubborn, right? He just don't want to talk to his damn kids. Like, she's literally lost the love of her life, and she was stubborn in her way too, where she didn't want to fess up to her feelings at the time. But it's just a lot there. There's a lot there. So I encourage everyone to make sure you get that lesson when you watch Home Alone 2, because it's really touching, really touching. But should we get into some of the booby traps? I mean, I love that they have the abandoned house. I would say it's a little bit of a reach to be able to get into what was his uncle that was out of town's house. He's looking for, I will say back then though, they did have the yellow pages, and the only way was to just kind of look up someone and then just show up. So that was interesting, but for him to get in and be able to just take over a place that he's never been, so it's a lot. It's a lot to believe.
I do remember people like having those little books and writing everybody's addresses and information down. So that was a cool like throwback memory.
I don't know why it's just silly to me. I don't know why that is so funny, bro. It's just when he turns into the skeleton, it looks so fake. And they actually do that in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles too, right, Prime?
Yeah, but it's like a
he's just scared. He gets scared in the car. Right when they almost get into it.
It's like a dream sequence.
Yeah, so it's not in reality the same way it is in Home Alone 2, where obviously his skeleton didn't pop out of its frame, but I don't know why that. And didn't the skeleton have a fro? Like
Yep.
Cue it up, man. Just pop that in right now, because I swear that is just one of the funniest things to me. The way the skeleton's just moving, and just it doesn't get any better. Doesn't get any better than that.
Well, I mean, I guess we can go more into detail when we do a review on these, but as for now, I think that's all. We'll put a fork in it.
I mean, yeah, people know 1 and 2. I think we did enough injustice to draw people away from 5 and 4. Just don't watch those. 6 is, I think, worth a watch on Disney Plus this season. And then if you can, just stick to 1, 2, and 3, almost in that order. We came up with number 2 and that's Lost in New York as our favorite today, just by consensus. But they're neck and neck, similar to 4 and 5 being neck and neck as the worst. 1 and 2 it's one big movie. Just watch both of them in succession. Excuse me, I'm like concession in succession, and you won't be disappointed. You definitely won't.
Yeah. Allison, let everybody know where to find you.
Yeah, my name is Allison McLean Merrill, and you can find me on Instagram at PastFootFoward, or go to PastFootFoward.com. I've also rejoined Twitter just as myself, and that's at A McLean Merrill.
Awesome. And you know who I am. I am Leeboy TV. You can catch me at LeeboyTV.com, at Leeboy TV on all socials. Also follow Magical Life Media. Been doing some Disneyland content recently. It's been a lot of fun. The parks are back open, so make sure you check me out there. And just enjoy yourself for the holidays. Just fight that seasonal depression that we all, well, at least I suffer from at times. But Home Alone is a great way to get away from that. So pop those in and feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Twitter, I said pop Instagram. Those in like it's still VHS. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Oh, some people do.
Yeah, some people might DVD. Still have the DVD. Yeah.
Especially as this being a nostalgia channel. I mean, VHS and VHR. KVNG Prime Time, Twitter, Instagram, Prime Nostalgia Pod, P Nostalgia Pod. We're gonna get more active on there. Just follow 80s, 90s, and 2000s vibes. If y'all want to follow, I mean, y'all don't have to, but whatever.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah, and tell us y'all's list from 6 to 1 or 1 to 6, either one. Don't matter.
You just want to hear the listing? I wish I knew the titles of these films. Maybe I should bring those up. But my list:
Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 3, Taking Back the House. No, Home Alone 3 and then Home Alone 4, Taking Back the House.
Wait, Home those Alone are both the 5. Same?
No, I messed up. Okay. Home Alone 5 is like Holiday Heist, and then 6 is Home Sweet Home Alone. So, yes.
All right, so you know them all, but I don't. So I'll just say in my order, I had, and this is going from least to best, I had 5, 4, 6, 3, 1, and 2.
And then I had from worst to best 4, 5, 6, 3, 2, 1.
And I mean, I had 4, 5, 6, 3, 1, 2. So
yeah, we're pretty close. And I'm glad we didn't have to fight and we didn't have to do nothing too crazy. I mean, it was good. Nobody did nothing, like put number 3 before number 1. Don't do that. We have 4 and 5.
Did you see that list?
Yeah. What? There was a list out there?
Oh my gosh. We'll get on that next week. Yes, there's a list by like bar stools or something. It's like 3. It's like 3, and then it's like 2, and then 1 is like lower.
No. See,
so serious.
That's wrong.
So serious. Wrong. It's like the Santa Claus wasn't even on there and whatever. All right. Anyways, we'll get on that. We'll talk about the results of that next week. Anyways, or week after next, actually. But from Allison, from Leeboy, from me, I'm gonna say prime time is all the time.
All the time, baby.
We are out.
We out.
Kevin! Prime Nostalgia.
Thanks for tuning in to the Prime Nostalgia, the podcast dedicated to entertainment from childhood. That's 80s, 90s, the latest 2000s. Cause Prime know it all, and Leeboy be wild, and he's from all that. Dropping gems for you to find, so that's orange, the lightest line. Prime time is all the time. We talking about the classics, and there's so many. That's Leeboy TV and PRIME. Ow.